Today we're sitting down across the desktop with Ron Veras. Ron's a longtime friend of mine, loan officer, 20 years?
Over 20, yeah.
It's been
20 plus, yeah.
2006 is when we did our first deal together, so 2016 now. And this is our first episode of Across the Desktop, and I wanted Ron to be my first guest. So
You always remember you first.
Only you, would say that. But this podcast, is dedicated to small business people.
Okay.
That my purpose in starting this thing was to hopefully give some insight to small business people as they start their business, as they're growing their business, as they're expanding their business, and maybe they can get something from a conversation like this from successful business owners.
Okay.
Ron, tell us the story. Tell us the story of Georgia Platinum Mortgage. Give me some background here, a little behind the scenes. Open the kimono.
Yeah, I can tell you. Well, basically, they say one door shuts, another door opens.
Yeah.
And I started the company about 26 years ago, going on 27 years ago. And I only started the company because I ran a division for Nations Bank. At that time, it was Nations Credit at the time, and Bank of America and Nations Bank merged together, and they closed out our division. So basically, I was laid off, and I got a severance package for 60 days, and I had already been in the mortgage business prior to that. I've been this is my 33rd year doing mortgages.
Yeah.
But what triggered me going self-employed is I was in the corporate world for 5 or 6 years, and I was shocked when we were let go. And so I remember telling my wife at that time that I felt like I want to get out of the corporate world. I think I can do this myself. I'm a risk taker. I'm a gambler and certainly a risk taker. And so I said, I thought I can probably do this by myself. So 26 years ago, I had a vision and a dream, and a couple of my staff at that time with Nations Credit at that time decided to take a leap of faith. We prayed on it. We consulted together, and I said, "Hey, this is what I think we can do. We have a 60-day severance package, so we have to make it work."
I can make payments for 60 days, and then
that's exactly right. Plus, I had a little savings there, so it was okay. And so I thought I was comfortable with it. And I'll be honest with you, I started the company and doing mortgages, and I remember I had the knowledge and I had the enthusiasm, and also I had a 2-year-old and 7-year-old, so I needed to make sure this.
Right?
Yes, I had to make sure we succeeded, and my wife didn't work, so we had to make sure this was going to be successful. And I've been blessed over the years. I've been very successful in the things that I've done with athletics and friendships and things of that nature, and tasks I've did. So sure enough, I decided started the company. I worked 80-hour work weeks. It was minimal. I was coming home at 2 in the morning. For 30, 60 days, you have to set the infrastructure up. I rented a little office, and the landman, Don Tyson, over there on 92 and Wade Green Road.
Yeah.
And we weren't fancy because my neighbor was a barber. So we had a barber, a satellite office, and a mortgage company.
Were you in there with the post office?
Yes, in the post office. So you name it. It was like, a Pandora's box, what you got when you open the door. So sure enough, I was very fortunate enough. He gave me cheap rent, and I rented 3 or 4 offices. I think it was 3 offices at that time. And we took my staff, and then I hit the pavement. And I knew back then what was going to make us successful in the mortgage business would be going after the real estate agents and creating relationships with them.
Yeah.
And I also knew being on the wholesale side and not the retail side, we were going to have the ability to sell lower interest rates and lower cost. So I already have that great tool in my shed. I'm going to be able to sell lower rates. So everyone will open the door. And then I have to sell myself and why someone would believe in myself and my company over Bank of America or Wells Fargo, whoever it may be.
What is you mentioned something that that you wanted to go after real estate agents. Yes. A lot of loan officers go after real estate agents. What do you think sets you apart from the others out there? Because you've been tremendously successful. You and I talk about this a lot, that people do business with folks that they know, like, and trust.
Right.
You have this unique ability to make people like you. You're not a likable person. I'm kidding.
Don't tell my wife that. Yeah.
But you do make people. You don't make people trust you. They just innately trust you. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think I'm genuine. When I started my company, when we were coming up with the logo and the motto and everything, and the first thing I thought is I want our clients to be our family.
Yeah.
I want to treat everyone. And if you look on our back of our business card, it'll say we treat our clients our family.
Yeah.
And I believe rapport building is important, but you have to be honest and transparent. You have to be you got to be available, accessible.
Yeah.
You got to be able to answer phones. Back then, we had flip phones. We didn't have these smartphones and everything. We even had fax machines back then. But I think what really set myself apart was I've been told, and I believe I've had the gift of gab and be able to speak, be all things to all. Yes.
I've been trying to pull stuff out of you ever since we started.
I know. I'm very introverted. Yeah.
I know.
But I think what the key was, I wanted to let them know that we're a team and that I'm going to do, I know I have to make you as transparent as possible, because if you're going to refer me to a client, then, if it's a bad experience, it comes upon you. And so we have to make sure that we do everything right. And one of the things that I took pride on is I set my hours from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. I had to be accessible. What I realized, and back then, and after I went, was, people buy homes not on, between 9 to 5 on a Monday morning or during the week. They buy homes on a Sunday, a Saturday, or maybe a client needs to get a hold of me at 8 o'clock after their work day.
You basically work when your clients work, which is really the realtor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because realtors are the same way.
Absolutely. 7 days a week.
That's right. 7 days. People call and they want to see a house. You go show it to them, and then you need it. You need a pre-approval. You need a pre-approval, changed.
Absolutely.
That you've already done. So.
And you have to be accessible. The number one complaint in the industry is pick up the phone, right?
Yeah.
People are not. I can't get a hold of my loan officer. How many times have you ever heard that over the years and stuff like that? And their loss is my gain. And that's how over the years I have really gained agents over the time of being accessible, doing a great job, closing quick. I also made sure we were setting ourselves up with lenders that can close loans quickly, and that we would be able to close a loan in 2 weeks if we needed it. One of my largest agents, I've told you a story, I'm not going to mention names, but back then, before TRID was around where you have to wait 8 days to close, I got my very first deal from a fallout from Home Bank. If you remember Home Bank, many, many years. And the agent said, and you know her, said, okay, hotshot, I'm going to give you an opportunity. You have 2 days to close this loan. So I remember meeting the client at midnight, signing
and here's the package.
And I met with them, and I had to have back then we could order our own appraisals.
Right.
So I made sure I had David at the house that morning. I had the lender. In fact, back then it was Decision One. I remember that well. And I said, okay, call in. It takes a village. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get this thing done. And he worked on the third shift or second shift of Ford plant over like in Tucker or something there. And so we met at midnight and got everything done. And sure enough, we closed after 2 days. And so obviously I was proud of myself to being able to do that. And it went a long way.
Well, that's how you and I got associated. So same agent.
Okay. Yes.
I had a contract on her listing, and 6 days before closing, the lender said, nope, can't do it.
Okay.
And I contacted her, and she said, call Ron Veras.
Yep.
And I called you and said, help. And you said, oh, Dave, we can get this done. And you did.
Send up the bat signal.
Yeah.
And that's where I come running. Yeah.
So not a lot of people have that kind of dedication to their clients. I mean, it's 2 days. Are you kidding me?
Right.
You're
right.
like 2 days. That's a challenge.
Yes.
Why?
And I'll tell you what I always wondered what really made me successful. And it really came back to my roots growing up. My dad had the same work ethic. He was in the financial field. My parents were very loving and supportive, whatever I did. But I was at a very early age, I played year-round sports when I was 4 years old.
Very competitive, aren't you?
Very competitive nature there. And I excelled in athletics, and I did it quite well. But one of the things that athletics taught me, excuse me, was how to work as a team, how to lead others, and you have to put in the work and the work ethic. And that's, I think my work ethic was instilled at a very early age. And I saw it in my father, right? He was my mentor. And so I came from a great nucleus, and it just grew over time. And I was fortunate enough over the years to always become the captain of the football team or basketball or baseball, whatever it was. But it was not just my work ethic and my athletic talents, but also having others believe in me, right? So we had a common goal, right? We have to win a district championship or a game or whatever it may be. And so I was at an early age, I also felt like I can be all things to all people. I felt like I wanted to be well-rounded and be able to be to understand people's strengths and weaknesses. And I learned that at a very, very early age. But I took pride in being well-rounded. In fact, my father even encouraged me to be well-rounded. My father, and I say this, most people don't know this, but they always thought I was just someone who did well and excelled in athletics growing up. But what was funny was I liked theater. I liked musicals. My father always instilled that you need to learn other things in life other than athletics, and leading that way. We need to understand art and understand appreciative music. So growing up, I had to go to all the musicals all my life, and to this day, I still go to musicals. Yeah. So just trying to be more well-rounded in everything.
Is that where you learned to dance? I've seen it at the pool parties.
My Rico Suave moves, yes, I was fortunate enough that. Just don't ask me to sing.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we hear the gravel.
Yes, the Demi Moore voice for a male. Yeah, I lost that, and that's from all the years of coaching. I coached 19 years of baseball too.
Yeah. I did the same thing. Not quite as long. 12 years of baseball for me.
Yeah, but it was a thrill. It was one of my greatest times in life. Yeah. Just being with my son and being and coach younger children, about life and also about athletics.
Do you think that kind of commitment and work ethic is learnable later in life? Do you think it has to be instilled early, or can it be learned later?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you can learn it. I think a lot of people learn it when they're in the fork in the road and they realize they have to learn it. The bills are coming due, or I'm maybe going down the wrong path. Now it's time to change my ways. People in life, and I've always been this way, and I'm very proud of saying this, I've always been a thumb pointer than a finger pointer. So I've never been a victim. I never understand, hey, it didn't happen, I'm an unlucky person. I always look at what could I have done better. And I take to this day, I still do it. And when I see a problem, or if I see a situation, what could I have done better to maybe solve the problem, or not blame somebody that it didn't work, and whatever it may have been on their part of it. But I do believe if it's in everybody, it is in everybody. If you really want it, and this day, after 33 years in the mortgage industry, I'm still in the office at 7:30 in the morning.
You are, yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough, and God has been good to me. I have been very fortunate enough where I can honestly say I can retire to this day.
Yeah.
But I love the game. I love making a difference in people's lives. When you close on a mortgage for somebody, especially when they're a first-time home buyer. You know you're part of that family.
You changed their life.
Change their life. Yeah, absolutely, in a positive way. And, not everybody wants a home. We're selling the American dream, right? Not everyone gets excited and say, hey, I want an apartment. I'm so excited about that. We want a home because they raise families, and raise their children. They have memories. So I actually still thrive on that, making a difference in people's lives. I really do.
What I'm trying to accomplish with this podcast is to give people tools.
Yeah.
I want them to hear something. If they hear, 1 minute of content out of a 30-minute podcast and it transforms them, then this was a positive experience. What advice would you give to business owners, whether they're just starting out? And let's start there.
Okay.
You're thinking about starting your business.
Okay.
What advice would you give them?
Don't say no, or don't accept no.
Okay. Never give up.
Yeah. You probably know the old, I think you may know this about Colonel Sanders with Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
He tried to sell that original recipe over 1,000 times.
Yeah.
1,001, well, someone bought it.
Yeah.
And we know the story about it.
And he was 72.
It's crazy.
So it's not, you don't have to start when you're 22 or 32. He was 72. He had an idea and he had a dream and he pursued it.
Yeah, you have to be willing to sacrifice things because there's a lot of time involved with the business.
Yes.
And you have to be able to multitask at one time. You juggle a lot of balls in the air. You really do. So if you're starting a company, I would, whatever field that may be, I would go interview or talk to others, professionals in your industry, whatever it may be. If you want to be an agent, speak with a successful real estate agent. Go to lunch with them, buy them a coffee, whatever it may be. Use your sphere. Also, go out and tell people what you do or what you're going to do. Or I guess after you start your company, tell people what you do.
Don't be a secret agent.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's absolutely, be extroverted. Tell people there. Because everyone, you'd be amazed how everyone in my industry, I'm fortunate enough, most people want a home. Or maybe they already own a home, they may want to refinance, or they may want to, they need capital to do a home improvement or pay off other bills. Well, when you go to a restaurant, or if you go to a sporting event or whatever, let people know, and it comes along with conversation. Yeah. Ask others what they do, and they will then ask what you do.
I think that is the key, is be curious.
Yes.
So most people are very afraid to meet out someone else. I don't know why. I've never had that problem. You've never had that problem. But if you're curious about them, then they know you care.
Absolutely.
If you just show up and throw up on them about everything you do, and hey, do you want to get a mortgage? You want to refinance your house? Then they're going to think he doesn't care. He just cares about the transaction. Correct?
Correct. And ask questions that are going to create a dialogue. If you ask a question, yes or no, okay, then we go to the next question.
Right.
You have to create something. How did you get in this industry? You're going to have to figure out. You got to lean on them to be able to story time.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to and get them. Also, have the work at, like I said, work around the clock.
Yeah.
There are times for family, but make sure that you open your schedule. Sometimes you have to sacrifice an extra round of golf, maybe going to a Braves game.
I think you should sacrifice a round of golf with me soon. Just saying. But.
Yes. With business, remember, a lot of business deals are closed on the golf course on there.
Yeah.
But no, I would tell somebody to go ahead and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Ask others. Do your research. One of the things that we have now that is a lot easier than it was when we were starting our companies is the internet. We now have AI, right? You can actually do everything on the internet, build slideshows, build logos. You can name it.
Yeah.
You name it.
Yeah.
you can do everything. Back when we were starting, we had these little flip phones. We had fax machines.
I had a brick phone.
Oh, yeah.
I had a bag phone.
I remember that. It's like an episode of MASH. You remember
right.
Radar?
That's right. That's what it looked like.
Exactly. So, but now we have more tools than ever to be successful.
Yeah.
We really do. Yeah. And you can, and our phones are our computers. And you can work from your car, you can work from wherever you're at, even on vacation. Bring your laptop phone. But I'm telling you, I always say be a risk taker. Most businesses actually don't succeed. I mean, they really don't. But if you believe in yourself, I pray on it. Make sure it's the right thing. Ask, obviously, if you're married, talk to your family. But I believe the small businessman makes what America's all about.
Sure.
Right? It employs the most people.
Yeah.
And it really does.
60, 70% of employees are from small business people.
50 or less.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so I say take the risk, but excel. But you're going to have to find a niche. Whatever field you're looking at, what is going to be your niche? Because you do have to separate yourself from the competition. Yeah. Absolutely. And, going back to when I kind of started in the industry, and when I opened up my own mortgage brokerage company, I told you I went after the agents and realtors.
Yeah.
Back then, most loan officers went after the refinance market.
Yeah.
And I built my company on purchases. A lot of people build it on buying leads and doing refinances. Well, refinances dry up over time, but people will always buy a home.
Right.
And they just do.
I've told you this before, that there was a time in probably 1987, 88, 89, we went through a recession.
Yeah.
Now, really 88, 89, 90, we went through the recession. In 87, I'd had the best year ever, was Rookie of the Year at Northside Realty. And all of a sudden, the train hit the wall and nothing was happening. And I remember I had a friend I played basketball with at that time. He's now got the largest plumbing company in Atlanta. Yeah. We all know who that is.
Yes.
And I asked the Lord, I was like, man, why can't I have a company like that where if the toilet goes out, you're calling the plumber no matter how much money you have in the bank, right? And the water heater goes out, you're and it was like God said, Dave, where is the toilet and where is the water? It's in the house. And I was already in the real estate business. Right. And so number one, taking where you're at and going, this is a gift. Right. How do I use this gift? The thing that I've always been impressed with about you, again, a lot of mortgage people go after the realtor. Mm-hmm. You didn't go. You say you went after the realtor. You wanted to serve the realtor. Absolutely. It wasn't. I work for you. You don't work for me. That's right. Yeah. That's the thing that I think that impresses me the most. So, what do you think has been your biggest failure first? In 33 years, you thought this, and we're not talking stock portfolios, but so let's don't go there. That's funny. So, what has been your biggest, you think failure during that 33-year time? Tried it, didn't work. Biggest failure is I didn't grow fast enough with people. When we started having success, I kept it small, and I could have been a much larger company than I am today. I had the opportunity to have 20 to 30 people working for me in lieu of 10. And so I would say when the iron was hot, I had the ability during the good old days of 2003, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Then in 2008, that's another story there. Yeah. I would say that I had the ability to grow. I had the financials to do it. But I became content to what I had. Mm-hmm. We grew something. I was proud of it. I was making great money. But I had an opportunity to be much bigger than Georgia Platinum Mortgage could have been much bigger than what it is today in the local area.
And I would have also expanded in other states at that time and put offices.
You do business in Alabama, right?
We have an office in Alabama. We lend in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas.
Yeah.
But I only have 2 physical offices, one in Alabama, one here. I would have expanded the Florida market. That was where
And you grew
all
up
the
in
growth-
Florida.
I grew up in Orlando, Florida, Oviedo to be exact, UCF, or we're in that area. But I had an opportunity to do that back then, and I could be Georgia Platinum, could have been Florida Platinum. It could have been a lot of different things. But I think that was one thing that I saw, and we would have had the ability to retire 10 years ago if I had wanted to, if the time came. But I think I could have grown bigger and made more of a difference in other people's lives than what we have now. So I would say that's probably, I don't know if that's a failure. It was
Missed opportunity.
a missed opportunity. I think that we learn from our mistakes, right? We learn, and you really know who you are through adversity.
Yeah.
When times are good, then it's the roaring 20s. But we found out, and but I would say that's probably I don't want to call it a failure, but a missed opportunity.
Fran Tarkenton wrote a book. We know who Fran Tarkenton
Yes,
is.
yes.
Younger people don't know who Fran Tarkenton is, but he's
Look
still,
him up, Minnesota Vikings.
He's still and Georgia Bulldog. He was the first draft pick of the Minnesota Vikings when they were an expansion team.
Yeah.
So first pick of their life. But he wrote a book called The Power of Failure. He's an entrepreneur. Back then in 1961, everybody had an off-season job because you weren't making a lot of money in the NFL. And so he had started over 100 businesses in his career. He lives here in Atlanta, still starting businesses to this day. He's over 80 years old and just as vibrant as you can be. But he wrote a book, Power of Failure, and he said that the thing you need to do when a business is going south, he goes, fail fast and fail forward.
Yeah.
So if it's not going to make it. You just know in your heart it's not going to make it. Now, you've never given up, and okay, I'm bankrupt, and it's time to fail fast, but then learn from it, fail forward.
Yes.
And so, reading that book, and then got a chance to meet him. This man is the most gregarious person you'll ever meet, most positive person you'll ever meet. But he said sometimes you fail, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I think we're afraid of failure. I know I was at one time. Now I just try everything, even if it's stupid sometimes, because I don't want to let fear drive me.
Right.
What is your biggest success? You talked about failure or missed opportunities. What do you think is your biggest success?
In business.
In business. Well, I don't care.
Let's go with business. I would say in business-wise, to persevere after the Great Recession of 2008.
Yeah.
80%
that
of
lasted 6 years.
It did. And 2008 and 9 were tough.
Yeah.
They were tight, as you
remember.
know.
Yeah.
And I remember looking up 80% of loan officers in Georgia were out of the business.
Yeah.
Out of Georgia. And I was proud to be one of the 20%. And my company still flourished during those times. Yes, there was a lot of extra money going in the piggy bank, but we were able to persevere and keep the same staff and be able to make it through. It wasn't a depression, but it felt like a depression, but it was a great recession. And I would say my greatest accomplishment is to lead our company out of those dark times on there and to still be around in 2026, thriving more than ever. And so I would definitely say business-wise, where 80% of my competition left to succeed.
Yeah.
And that would probably be it there. I remember, golly, I try to attend all closings. We talk about that in the past because it's my opportunity to meet and shake or give a hug to that family and give them a housewarming gift and thank them in person. Because in our business, everything's behind the scenes, all computers and IT. but to thank them. But to be able to do that is, I enjoy that. But back in 2008, 50% of all homes sold in Cherokee County, I just know this statistic, was a foreclosure. There was no
foreclosure or short
seller.
sale.
Yeah, we're all waiting for the
right.
deed under power.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. But I would say that's my biggest accomplishment, to get through 2008 and to be where we're at today.
Yeah.
I really do.
Tell us about your succession plan.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. Very proud of it. As you know, my pride and joy is my son, Aaron. And he's a little mini me. I'll be honest, everyone. I get
That
this.
is the truth.
Everyone tell me he's some people call me Peacock, and he's Peacock 2.0. We boast sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was, so the succession plan for myself is Aaron has been with me in the business for 7 years. And he is going to
Came in right out of college, didn't he?
Came right out of college. He actually interned.
Started originating loans. Yeah.
Yes, and you have to understand, all his life I've been in the mortgage industry. So he would come to my office at times, right, hang out, eat lunch, do different things. But he learned the business at an early age. He sees the fruits of our labor, or Dad's fruits of labor, and but he wanted to get in the same field. We both have a finance degree. I graduated from Mercer University. He graduated from KSU. But he decided to intern and said, Dad, I think this is what I want to do. I want to take over the company. And so as a proud father and as a businessman, you got to kind of separate the two. I thought, man, this would be really, really cool to allow him to keep the legacy going on. So the succession plan is Aaron owns 5% of the company at the moment. He'll grow another 5%.
That happened about a year ago, right?
About a year ago.
His first 5%. Yeah.
Yes, and he'll get another 5% this year, and then it'll be a bigger jump. So instead of him working for me, in a few years I'll be working for him. So the succession is going to be Aaron will be the owner, running Georgia Platinum Mortgage. I will be an employee. It'll be a while before I give up. It may be a 5149 for a moment on there, but it will eventually be his. And I will work for him. And my wife has told me, Dee Dee's told me, I have hyperactivity disorder. I know that's not anything legitimate. I made it up, but I can't retire. I'm always going to be working. I may not work the 50 hours that I work right now, but going maybe to a 20-hour work week. And hopefully my golf game gets better.
Well, and and you talked about, okay, he said, I want to take over the company. Your first thought was, that's awesome. Now let's see if you can take over the company. It wasn't, here it is, I'm going to give it to you.
Correct.
He had to earn it because he had been with you for 6 years before you gave him a piece.
Correct.
Yeah.
Until I thought he was ready. Right. You don't want anyone to set him up for failure.
Yeah.
Right. So during those 6 years, he had taken on more and more responsibility.
He's doing payroll for you now. Right?
That's right. Right. He's doing the payroll. He meets my CPA every quarter. He runs 100% of everything that I do. We're both equals. It's a 1A or 1B, if you want to call it. But before he had gotten 5%, I need to make sure that he knew 100% what was going on in this business. Yeah. And he does. And actually, he's grown the business because we talked earlier that I have a very senior staff, my average staff. And I think that's a compliment to myself.
But they've been with you a long, long time.
Over 20 years.
And they've gotten 20 years older over that time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. AARP is doing well in our company. And so we had to bring in youth.
He's 29.
He's
recruiting.
Correct. We now have a 23-year-old and another 29-year-old. So we've our average age has gone down, and he's brought in youth. And youth knows IT, better technology than what us dinosaurs have done. I still have a paper calendar.
Me too. It's on the daytime. I write things.
It's still on my phone, but I have a paper calendar on there, and it's the big one, the desktop.
Sure.
I still do that, and we still have paper folders for 5 years because Department of Bank and Finance requires 5 years. So we're not even in the cloud. We still go to the paper system on it. I'm still old school in that way, but Aaron will
transition
and catapult this company into new areas, to be honest with you, and growing it. So the succession plan will be there. I will be there. He's got 33 years of experience with myself, always being a consultant. But I don't think I'm ever going to retire.
I can't really see you ever retiring.
I don't. I like the game.
Completely.
And like I said, I love people, and I love making a difference in people's lives. And I really do enjoy the game. I got from, we go back to that one agent. She gave me an FHA deal that I needed to close in 10 days. There was a time sensitive, and we just got it closed in 10 days. I don't like those timelines. I prefer, 2 weeks and on. Yeah. But I like the challenge of it and go, okay, if we're going to do this, we need to put everybody together. And fortunately, I'm fortunate enough, 33 years experience being successful. I have the bat phone to certain lenders and CEOs and things of that nature that I can make things happen.
Well, I think they want to make it happen for you because you're very loyal to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very
last question. You've got a nickname. You've got a nickname. Tell our audience what your nickname is.
It's 72 and sunny.
Yeah, it's 72 and sunny. Yeah. It's just like it's always perfect. In Verisville. What would your friends say about you?
Well,
when they describe Ron Veris, what would they say about Ron Veris?
Always happy. And that's why I got the 72 and sunny. Drew Gehring, I got to give him credit, gave me that maybe 15, 20 years ago. I am always a positive person. The 72 and sunny, where it came upon was when it's 72 and sunny and you're outside, you just feel good. You're not sweating. You're not cold. The sun feels good.
Right.
And it's just there's something about it that feeds in the soul. And it puts a smile on everyone's face. And that's what Drew had shared with me. He said, man, you put a smile on everybody's face. You lift people's spirits. You're funny. You're pretty. You have some one-liners.
You're okay. Yeah.
I take a lot of my one-liners from Caddyshack. Don't tell anyone. But no, it's
everything comes from a movie reference. By the way, all the best lines.
It really is. But anyway, so I think it's very uplifting and a very positive.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm a man of faith. I'm very positive. I'm an optimistic person. Certainly not pessimistic. And I believe in people feed off positive energy. And if you're negative, people can also feed off that. But I try to cut out all the negative out of my life. I like to live hey, I'm only on this earth one time. So I want to make the best of it. And so I want to, on my tombstone, it will say, Ron lived life to its fullest. Yeah. 72 and sunny.
I'm one of those friends.
Yes, you are.
I'm glad that you count me as one. And
you're a brother.
And I would say, if someone asked me about Ron Veris, I would say he cares more about the people in his life than he cares about Ron Veris. He is a servant leader, because you always care about others first. And I think that's a key to success is if you care about others more than yourself.
Absolutely.
Well, it's the golden rule. Love God, love people.
Yes.
And you love people well. Ron Veris, thank you for sitting down.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
across the desktop for me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
It's an honor.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.